So hey guys, my name's Enroy and today I'm going to be going through a book recommendations. So this is not a manga recommendation, this is a book one. The reason why I've called it a recommendation is basically because it's a light novel, or a light novel series rather, so I can do this. So today I'm going to be talking to you about Death Note. So here today I have boom, Death Note, another note, the Los Angeles BB murder cases. And I have here Death Note, L changed the world. I'm going to start off by saying I have read the first book through and through, that's all done, covered, but yeah, it's good. I have started the second, not all that way through, a couple pages. So yeah, I'll just speak about the first book and then my opinions on the second. So the first book is pretty good, you know. It's the first light novel I've ever had, and it's brought a good shed a good light on me. It's about L and Naomi Misora or Missouri. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, and it's about basically L before the events of Death Note, you know, the manga, the anime. So it's kind of about him having this detective war, as I like to put it, with BB, who is Beyond Birthday, another member of Whammy House. Now, this book kind of sheds a lot of light on what you think of L, as it kind of gives you some more background reference. It speaks a bit about Whammy House, you know, and it tells you more about how the characters are. Like, it speaks about Nia like 2 times, I think. Obviously Beyond Birthday, Matt isn't mentioned, but it does mention Watari as well. So yeah, it gives you kind of insight, and it's quite a thrilling, exhilarating book. You know, people kind of argue saying it's not fast paced, it's quite slow. No, shut up. Throughout the whole of it, it just evolves, and it's perfect to me, to be honest. For a light novel, I felt that, you know, it's going to be a bit short, tacky, whatever, because novel-wise, I'm used to reading big books, like I have Game of Thrones at the moment I'm reading, but this actually really works, and I took it in about, well, I bought the book a Sunday last year, and I started properly reading it the Monday and I finished the Thursday. So I'd say 4 sittings was what it took, like an hour, maybe less each time. So yeah, they're not actually all that long. I mean, if I show you, see, they're not actually all that long. Not that long of a book. I think this one, if I quickly check, see, 176 pages, so they're not actually that long. And it's a good read. The whole atmosphere of the book is quite good. It's quite eerie, quite detective-like as well, which I quite liked. It felt like I was reading a Japanese version of a Sherlock Holmes. It was pretty good. Now, all I can say to people is don't be discouraged because the book is set in Los Angeles. Yes, I know it's set in Los Angeles, and you might get that feeling that, oh, it's just going to be like a normal book, there's not going to be any anime-esque feel to it, it's not going to be Death Note, it's just, you know, common people. No, it's not. It does hold some Death Note, you know, purpose to it. I'm not going to go too much into it though, due to spoilers, but, you know, something along the lines of Shinigami lines is involved in the book, so don't be discouraged. But it's kind of like a cat and mouse kind of thing with L and Beyond Birthday throughout the book, and all these killings that he's doing, and, you know, about the Waraningyo dolls. It's quite sophisticated as well in the language and, you know, how it goes. And to be honest, can I say that anyone can pick up this book and read it? I'd say most people can just pick it up and read it, sure. I mean, the terminology isn't that bad, even though it's good, but it's the solving of the cases, which is the problem. If people can actually understand the complexity within the cases, that might be another thing. So I advise you, you know, if you're going to buy this book, make sure you do have that kind of intellectual output that you can understand a good detective book. It's quite good, as you know, the book keeps Japanese characters in it, so it still feels Death Note, like Naomi, who we all know was in the anime and manga. I think the manga too, yeah. The, so yeah, our characters are still in it. The book is really, it's really pacey as well. It takes a good note. It goes from one extreme to the other, and the plot twist at the end just completely punches you in the face. It's a good story. It kind of gives you more insight on L and his character and how L is, but not that much to what you would expect. It's not going to tell you his whole personality and his emotional feelings and such and such. If you want something that shows a bit more of L's character, you're going to have to read L Change the World, because that's based on the movie. I've been told, because I'm not that far in it, but I've been told that it goes into a bit more detail than Another Note into L's way of being, per se. But yeah, Death Note, Another Note is great. The murders, it kind of has that pacey feel, and the way that L uses Naomi is really quite interesting as well. The fact that she's known L for such time, she has this, as they like to say, relationship. So yeah, it kind of does show the relationship between them, but also it's kind of ironic, you know, that fact that she has actually been seeing L to what she knows, but she just didn't know the whole time, up till the point where, you know, in the anime or the manga, she dies. I'm gonna say it because if you're gonna read these books, you must have already read the manga or watched the anime. She dies. So it's quite good. Now, a big thing that got, you know, YouTubers, no, a big thing that people should know is the narrator, because the narrator in the book actually sheds a lot of key. The narrator being Mello. Yes, Mello is right in the book. He's the narrator throughout, and it's not like one of those narrators where it just, you know, it just tells a story. He gives his own shed of opinion and light onto things. You get this kind of biased feel because he's basically proclaiming of how great L is, and then he's trying to explain the death of him, because obviously this book was written after the death of L, but it's about his past. So it's not actually that hard to understand. He's basically writing about all L's greatness back in the day after he dies. It's like he's reminiscing in L's past, the past that he wasn't part of, but because he's so obsessed and he loves L, not in like a sexual way, but admiration, he writes his notes, as he calls it. He never says it's a book, he says it's notes. But yeah, Mello narrates the book, and it's kind of like that third opinion. He's like the outsider of the group, and he's looking into L's life, and he's saying how L's great, and how L's this, and how Misora's this and that. And it makes you want to read on more because of the way he speaks. It's quite, I don't know how to say, but it's good. It's good. So yeah, I recommend the book, definitely. You will read it in probably a week tops. If you're a slow reader, a week and a half too. It's not actually that long. My only difference is to say with L Change the World and the Los Angeles BB murder cases is that L Change the World is based on a movie. So be ready for it to not feel 100%. I say that as in, because it's being based from a movie, it's not going to go into explanation as well, because the whole point of a book being made into a movie is to give people the vision and that imagination right to their eyes, rather than using this. Now, the whole point of turning a movie into a book, I don't understand, but it's to probably, I don't really understand why you would make a book into a movie into a book. I just don't get it. It's like the reverse option, you know. It's like, I don't know, imagine Transformers as a book. Imagine Die Hard as a book. Can you see my argument? Like, why make it into a book? But yeah, because it is from a movie, it's going to be a lot different. There are going to be parts where you're going to read it and you could be like, but this is wrong and this hasn't been explained a bit, or I like this, but it's not right. Because it's from a movie, you need to understand that it's taking the visual concept to an imaginary concept. When it's like taking, say you're watching a TV program and then you then read the book of it. It has a whole different feel to you because you're going from that visual aspect where you know exactly what's going on, it's being fed to you, and then your imagination is giving it to you yourself. You might critique and say, well, the book isn't like the show and the show isn't like the book, and this is half done and this is half done, and you know, but still I advise you read L Change the World, but I'd say more read Death Note, Another Note. So yeah, that's basically it for my manga recommendation today, which is much of a recommendation at all. So this video will be posted on YouTube channel and blog. Thank you for watching, and peace.